Hello, my beautiful friends. I hope you're doing well. This is Richard Kuo, and today we're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about how do you find the right relationships, how do you keep them, and how do you just develop them over time, because that is very important. Now, for my friends who are single, it's okay if you're single, and my recommendation or my request of you is that you just continue being patient until you find the right person, and at the same time take those risks, take those chances in maybe asking that guy or girl out, or asking whoever you want it out. It takes chances sometimes. In my life, I have been in several relationships. I have done a lot of dating, and I grew up as a very shy person, and I struggled a lot with that, putting myself out there, and I was scared of being rejected over and over again, and scared to the point where there have been tons and tons of times where I did not take action. Tons of times I did not take action because I was scared. So first of all, let's talk about how do you find the right relationship. All right. For me, I think it's important to find someone that, number one, respects you, honors you, and accepts you as you are. Okay. Number two or three, it's important that you continue working on yourself and accept yourself too. Know that as human beings, we're not perfect, and it's okay to be imperfect, okay? I'm imperfect, my partner's imperfect, you're imperfect, your future partner or the person that you're interested in is also imperfect. None of us are perfect, okay? So we're all trying to figure out life at the same time. So that's okay. And I think when it comes to finding someone, it's important to just be authentic, be yourself, be vulnerable. In fact, how I met my beautiful, wonderful partner, Dom, is actually we reconnected as friends. And I was actually just sharing with her very vulnerably some of the challenges that I was going through in my life. And that actually created a conversation that eventually led to us being together. So my point is, it's important to just be real and vulnerable and to just be yourself. Because at the end of the day, when you're in a relationship, you want to be yourself, you want to be free. And yeah, that's how you find a right person. And another important point to this is don't settle. If it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a short-term relationship just for the good feels, then that's a different story. But if you're looking for a long-term relationship that means something, don't settle. And that's something that I've learned in a lot of the relationships that I've been in. I've actually broken off some of my relationships because I realized the relationship was not right for me. And I've dated, like I said, I've dated a lot of people, like single dates just to see if it'd work out. And a lot of times it did not work out. And that's why I kept moving forward. I didn't settle on certain people. There are some relationships that lasted maybe a few months for me. And I realized during those few months, I'm like, okay, this isn't working out. So I moved forward. And as a human, sometimes we're going to feel emotional. We're going to feel like we are wanting to be in a relationship because that makes us feel satisfied. That validates us. That makes us feel important, that someone cares about us. And I think this whole process of relationships and finding someone, it's a very tricky thing. It's a difficult thing. And I remember being single and just being very sad and happy both at the same time. I had seasons where I was focusing on myself and all of that, and then I have seasons where I just felt sad because I was alone and single and all that stuff. So again, if you're single, keep moving forward and don't give up. Just be persistent and keep trying. Don't give up, because as long as you keep trying, you'll eventually find your partner or someone that will fit you and your lifestyle. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, let's go with how do you build a positive, great relationship. And I think a lot of it comes down to accepting and understanding your partner and not trying to change who they are. Again, every single relationship is going to be different, so this advice might not even apply to you. Maybe you want to be the exact same people. But what I find is with my relationship with my wonderful partner, we don't try to change each other. Like, for example, compared to my partner, we have our different strengths and weaknesses. For me, I like to be very clean and organized. She may not be as much, but I don't try to change her. I will try to improve and offer suggestions. And at the same time, she is super, super into fitness and exercise. And for myself, I'm working on it, So she doesn't put that pressure on me. But by doing so, we're able to be our own individuals and be our best selves, and not feel that pressure that, hey, we need to change for that person. So that's one thing that I find very important in a successful long-term relationship, at least according from what I see. Again, I'm human. But what I see is important is that you honor and respect your partner, and your partner honors and respects you. And that's it. And of course, what's very important is communication, being authentic, vulnerability, and compromise. Because in relationships, there's going to be compromise that is needed. And all that means is really that sometimes you're going to disagree with things, and then you both have to have the humility, and the patience to be like, you know what? I don't always need to be right. And in fact, my partner and I use this tool of sometimes as humans, our egos want us to always be right. And what I realize is a tool that we use, and I love this, is when we are in a disagreement, our goal is to say something like, hey babe, you're right, I love you. Okay? And the purpose is to let go of trying to be right. Because in a relationship, the point is not to be right, who's wrong. It's really to be happy. And in order to respect your partner, you need to understand that from their perspective, they see a truth, just like you see a truth. So, for example, the shirt, you might see it as maroon, right? But then your partner might be like, no, that shirt it's purple. And they're like, no, it's maroon. Like the point of this is not to be right. Like, I don't know. That's, at least this is how I operate with my partner. It's, yes, I very much believe this is maroon, and I think there's a little bit of a factual thing, although we have a different color lenses that we see our lives out of. But like if my partner were to say, Richard, that's purple, what I realized is our relationship is so much more important than arguing over the color of the shirt. So if it's purple, I'll say, sometimes I'll joke about it. I'll be like, you're right, babe, I love you. Is it purple? No, I don't think it's purple. But like, it's just letting go. It's surrendering to always being right. You don't always have to be right in every single relationship. So that's something I've learned in relationships, that we don't always have to be right. And when you surrender and just let go, that's what kind of builds a nice foundation for the relationship. It's understanding, allowing the other person to be themselves. All right. So that's what I have. And then I'm going to finish this video with one last final little tip. And I think the biggest thing I've learned this past year in my relationship with my beautiful partner is that things don't always need to be a certain way. Things don't need to be the way you think it needs to be. So I've lived my whole entire life seeing this perspective, this certain perspective, and I'll say it around money. Like, I grew up in a very frugal mindset. And I kept thinking, okay, money, this is how you got to spend money. You got to be very strict and everything like that. And then with my new relationship, with my new partner, I realized that, you know what? People have different perspectives, and it doesn't make it wrong. There's truth to my partner's perspective, and I trust her. That's another thing. You got to trust your partner, that you got to value their opinion as truths. Okay? Not everything, but you got to value what your partner says. Otherwise, you might want to reconsider that. So not everything needs to be as so. And that's something I learned in my relationship, is that things can be flexible. I'm not always right. And to just let go and focus on being happy together. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in my relationship. For anyone who is looking for a relationship, be patient and take your time if you want to find the right person. And for anyone who are currently in a relationship, keep going, keep improving yourself. And I'd love to hear from you, whether you're single or in a relationship. What are some ideas, tips that you have that you think will be helpful for others to see in terms of what can you do to strengthen a relationship? All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Take care.